So now let's talk about creating sweeps with guide curve. Now using guide curve, you can further shape your sweeps. And here I'm going to use this profile. So basically we have three different sketches here. So we have got a circle, the main sweep path, and a guide curve. So let's go to sweep tool now. And here I'll start with the sketch profile, which is the circle. Now the second thing is path. So that's the path. And usually this is what we are going to get with a simple sweep. But I'll now go to this guide curve option. And here we can select our guide curves. So let's select this one as the guide curve, and this is the shape which we are going to get. So basically SolidWorks will sweep this thing along the path, but then it will also follow this guide curve to create its outer shape. Now this kind of resembles a earphone piece here, and this is one of the examples where you can use this guide curve feature to create 3D solids that look kind of like this. So I'm just going to click OK, and here we are. So we've got this profile. Now let me show you how to create sketches for this, because creating sketches for sweep using guide curve is also a little different than all the simple methods. So I'll go to a new drawing. And here I'm going to start with sketch and select the front plane. Now I'm going to start with a path. So first I'll just select this arc, and here I'm going to create an arc kind of like this. You can of course create a straight line if you want to, but I just want to keep my path like this. Alright, so with that path created, I'm just going to exit this sketch, and once again I'll start sketch tool and the same plane. But now I'm creating a completely new sketch. So sketch 1 was this path. Now I'm creating sketch 2, and for that I'm going to use this spline. All right, and here we are. So using this spline, I've got my second path. Maybe let's just make it like this, kind of a dramatic thing here. So this is what we have now. So we've got the path and we have this thing as guide curve. Let's exit out of this sketch. Now we'll create the main sketch profile, which is the circle. And to do that, I'm going to select circle directly, and I'll select this top plane. All right, and here we need to make it. So I'm just going to randomly make this circle here. And as you can see, I'm not constraining it to any of these existing points. After making it, I will constrain it. So I'll select this one and this point, and I'm going to just make it coincident. Also, I'll select this point and this circle, and I'm going to make it coincident as well. All right, so it's added here. We don't need any kind of diameter or radius for this, and that's one of the things which you need to keep in mind as well. If you add any constraint like diameter or radius on this one and then try sweeping it, the sweep may fail, because as you can see, it is changing the diameter as it moves along this guide curve. So adding constraint will add this restriction, and it won't let SolidWorks change the shape of this object when it moves along the guide curve. So it's not recommended, and if you add a constraint here, the sweep may fail. So here I've got these three geometries. I'm just going to exit out of this sketch, and now we are ready to create next sweep path. So again, I'm going to features, sweep, and I'll select the profile. Then here we have the path, and I'll go to guide curve, and I'll select this as the guide curve. And now we have this peculiar kind of shape created with that guide curve. There's one more thing that I want to highlight here. Here, as you can see, the path is this big, but it is creating it only up to this point, and that's because of the guide curve. So whatever the smaller length is, either the guide curve or the path, SolidWorks will create the object only up to that point. So it will always create the object up to the smaller sketch. Let's exit out of this. Now let's see another example. So for that, I'll open one more drawing here, and now let's try a circle. So I'll just go to this top view, and I'll create a circle, and I'm going to start with this one. So I've created the profile, and I'll add the diameter. Let's make it 60. All right, now we'll add the remaining sketches. So I'll exit out of this sketch, and I'll go to sketch, and here on the front plane, I'm going to add the next sketch, which is a simple straight line. All right, again, exit out of this, and now I'm going to create another sketch for my guide curve. So we have the sketch 3, and I'm going to use a simple 3-point arc for this. All right, it's done. We also need to ensure that these two are connected, because if they are not, then SolidWorks won't be able to create the sweep profile. So I'll just select this point and the circle, and now we have a different kind of relation called piers. So this is the relation that will constrain this endpoint on this circle. So I'll just apply this piers relation, and now this endpoint is touching this curve exactly on this plane on which we have this arc. So click OK, and we have the three objects that we need. But in this case, the sweep will fail. Let's see why. But first, let's just create it. So go to sweep, the profile, and then path. All right, and now guide curve, and select the guide curve. And as you can see, this will fail. Not only that, if you click OK, it's going to show you this error message. Now, this is a very simple kind of curve, and still it's failing to create this kind of sweep profile. And the reason is, as I mentioned earlier, the diameter which we added for the circle. So let's just go to the circle, and I'll select edit. And here we are. As you can see, we've added a constraint, and this is a thing that you should not do for the sweep profile. So I'll just delete this constraint, and now we are free to move this one along the path. So as the circle moves along this path, its diameter is changing, and because of the constraint, it was not possible to do both the things. So now that we no longer have the diameter, SolidWorks will be able to create the sweep profile with different diameters across this path. So let's go to sweep, and once again select the circle, then this path. Let's go to guide curve and select this guide curve, and now we have this. So it's easily creating this thing. Click OK, and here we have the sweep profile. So as you can see with this exercise, it's pretty clear that whenever you are making any sweep profile, it's better to start with the path and then guide curve, and in the end you can add the sketch profile which you want to sweep. So start with the path, then guide curve, and in the end add the sketch profile which you want to sweep.